I think that was the best part, taking the time to ask questions of other people and listening to their response and having a really genuine interaction.
Welcome to the Joy First Foundation podcast. This is where we discuss what it's like to give a joyful moment, how you can give joyful moments, what you can do easily to bring random moments of joy to others. Hope you enjoy listening. Thank you.
Welcome to Laughbox, the official podcast of the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. I'm Jim Bob Williams.
And I'm Katy BEE.
And today we have a very special show because our special guests include Olivia Vo, the savvy social strategist, Cathy Grippi of Laughter Yoga Venice, and a person who brings much joy to the world and is now the founder of a new foundation, our very own Katy BEE. Okay, so Katy BEE, you're going to have to take a microphone and turn it around because this time you're the guest instead of the host. But you can switch back if you want to ask questions of our guests. Olivia, since you have the tightest schedule, what does joy mean to you?
Oh my gosh. So I'm here on location in Mexico, beautiful Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And I have just been experiencing joy the entire time. Joy is a feeling. Joy is a bond.
And Cathy, what does joy mean to you?
What she said, and surprise, delight, because when I notice that I'm feeling joyful, it's usually because I've been delighted by something or I've brought delight. And
the Greek word chara means joy. It's the same root word that we get for charismatic, and chara meaning gift. So someone who's extremely gifted at bringing joy is Katy BEE. So Katy, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey towards joy.
So I'm a professional clown that got shut down during COVID, and I decided to create a tunnel of joy, which then got me involved in the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor, AATH, where we have this, Laughbox, the Applied Improvisation Network, and the Eastside Institute, which brought me the Global Play Brigade. So during COVID, I found myself in Zoom situations so I could be social, I could make an impact around the world, and I could learn how to be a better laughter yogi, how to be a better clown, how to be a better listener, how to be a better everything. And through that, through just a couple of really random experiences, I ended up creating the Joy First Foundation. One of those random experiences was with a group called Voices of Peace, which we were doing online support sessions for Ukrainian refugees. And I realized through that group that it was important to look at creating a nonprofit and seeing how we could do more and more using joy to help people in need. And I'm going to shift away from myself because we have Olivia for such a short time. I'm going to ask you one question, Olivia. Would you recommend Joy First to others on a scale from 1 to 10?
Oh, beyond 10, and definitely. I mean, it's a wonderful, impactful organization. And since my time here in Mexico, I've got plans to collaborate with you.
Oh, awesome.
Imagine this, a joy retreat in Mexico.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
And I recognize that, it's not up to one person. It's really up to the collective. It's all of us coming together as joyful ambassadors and doing things in our own way, but still supporting this, aspect of just finding, seeing, and creating joy.
Yes, that's so great. And Olivia, you coined the joyful ambassador expression, which has brought more people from beyond the woodwork. And you and Cathy, in my opinion, are joyful ambassadors. And while we have you, Olivia, before maybe we lose signal or whatever could possibly happen here, I want to ask you, what was your time like in the 48 hours that we ran and did as many joyful moments as possible?
Amazing. And it left me wanting more, right? So I think that's the impact that we want to leave for others, that feeling of wanting more, and why not create more joy, and why not learn to do it for ourselves and for others, most importantly for ourselves, right? We need to tap into those inner resources, our inner light, and then share that with others as well too. And we can all be joyful ambassadors in our own way, right? So I think you've got a particular background that lends its creativity and improv to many situations to lighten the mood, but we can all contribute in many small ways through gestures, through communication, through words, through props, and just be that person that will make that person smile. It could be the only smile and joy they receive that day, and a smile can save a life.
That's absolutely true. Oh, go ahead, Jim Bob.
Yeah, I was curious about this 48 hours of joy that you experienced. So where did you go, and tell us a little bit about that?
So when Katy first reached out to me that she was going to be in Jacksonville, it was the same time that there was the Van Gogh immersive art exhibit happening in town. And I said, Katy, let's go to this, right? I'd always wanted to go to it. And she was excellent. And thank you for, the Joy First Foundation for sponsoring those tickets. And we took it even further. I mean, I was looking just to be a tour guide of Jacksonville and showing Katy around town and to this exhibit. But, prior to that, in the car, we're brainstorming. She goes, you know what? I've got these joy certificates. I've got these kazoos. I've got these things that we could possibly pass around and just give someone a moment of joy, a standing ovation. No, a clapping ovation. She had clappers, a clapping ovation. And I thought, wow, this is really like the next level, because I don't think on my own I would have approached people that way. And because Katy gave us this idea and we just went with the flow. So we were giving like clapping ovations to the ushers, to the staff, to people around us, and then just really simply opening up conversations. I think that was the best part, taking the time to ask questions of other people and listening to their response and having a really genuine interaction that wasn't like rushed or bothersome, like, oh, what do you want from me? It was really, truly, we cared and we wanted to know what they enjoyed about the exhibit, what was going on in their day, how did they even come to find out about Van Gogh, etc. And so in 48 hours, I mean, we've done so much. And then the next day, we decided, well, we want to do that same thing again. So let's do a new experiment. Why not go to Jacksonville Pier and go up and down interviewing the people that are walking the pier and surveying them, what would they appreciate most? A monetary reward, or satisfaction or recognition. And I would say like many of the respondents said that they wanted like recognition. So we gave them a clapping ovation.
Yeah, yes. And I have to say, Olivia is like improv machine. And with all of the live she does for AATH and for herself with Savvy Social Strategy Media, that she was inspiring to me too, incredibly, and so ready to play. And I'm going to segue a little bit to Cathy Grippi, who also, in the same way, was inspiring to me, is still inspiring to me. And also considering yourself a joyful ambassador. Can you talk about the moment where joy first came into your house and then what we did and how it's inspired you from there?
Well, Katy, I have to be quite frank. I didn't really know what to expect. And so our first outing together was a little bit exploratory, more for me than for Kate, I believe. And we stumbled upon a farmer's market, and Katy just began. She just began, and she actually tweaked that questionnaire a little bit. And one of the questions that she added was, I might be phrasing it wrong, but basically serving others. And that became the new top of the list that day, and for a couple of days thereafter, as she referred to that. So people do want to serve others, and I think that's exactly what Joy First does when you become an ambassador. It gives you a license, if you will, to go out there and do it. It gives you a sense of purpose, and I can see where having maybe a training where it can't be Zoom, it's got to be in the flesh, where you invite people to come and do this with. Because when two people approach someone, Kate, I want to know if there's a difference. when you do this when you're by yourself versus when you have someone with you. Because I was like, I'll just videotape her. Okay, I'll just take the pictures. That in itself was amazing, as just to be a witness. But then to be able to feel more confident in going out there and doing it. So I want to go back to my question. When you do it alone versus having someone at your side doing it with, is there a difference for you?
Yeah, I think it is different. I'm going to go just to the mission and the purpose of Joy First to ground us a little bit in what this is. The mission of Joy First Foundation is to provide opportunities to experience the best moments of life through immersive activities and content. We help reimagine living and human development toward a more joyful life experience. And then the purpose is to explore, create, and bring joy to all living beings. Meaning, stopping someone on the street and saying, thank you for being alive today. And thanks for making it this far. Thanks for working through COVID without a raise. Thanks for being there in your medical, protective gear and cleaning up when you're having a hot flash and you can't take that gear off and you've passed through that journey. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for taking care of our groceries. Thanks for being a police officer or a fireman. Thank you for simply being here today on this earth. And alone can be a little daunting. I found I'm always ready to do it alone, but it is interesting with another person because I think there's a circular reciprocal feed that happens with me and whoever the recipient is. Then there's a third thing that happens with a witness or a second person also giving that recognition, where that other person has a chance to look around and see the ripple effect. And we're going to talk about that ripple effect. Where I'm focused on one person by myself, I don't see what's happening around as those joyful moments are occurring, where a second person gets a chance to see that and experience the reciprocity of even the ripple effect. So alone, I'm very cautious. I'm like a clown in a hospital. I take my time and approach. It's very slow. I'm checking in constantly with the person that's my recipient. How's it going? And if they're a little skeptical, they're usually not sure if I'm asking for money or what I'm doing. And then the first thing I say is, I'm here to give you something. I don't want anything from you. I'm here to give you. One of my favorite alone stories was at the Kumquat Festival in Dade City, where a woman was standing in line to get some food at this festival. And she had a stroller in front of her. And she looked a little bit down. And I get these, by myself or even with others, I get this impulse to who needs this. So I approached her and I said, can I just give you something? And she said, sure. And I gave her a standing ovation and I said, thanks for being here today and being alive. Now, this was the day after Tyree Nichols.
Oh, man.
And so I was very conscious of how the reaction could be a little bit different. And so I thanked her for being alive and on this earth today and being safe. And she started to cry. And she said, I had postpartum when I had my daughter here, who's 3. She said, I was just a surrogate for a family who tried for 7 years to have a baby. And I just gave birth to that baby. And I'm having postpartum depression. And she said, I think you were sent here. And I started to cry.
Wow.
And I just got arm in arm with her. And we stood together. And I just kept thanking her for being there today. She said I was a gift. It's not me. I feel like it's going through me, right? It's not about even who's in this body, because you guys know that. And the people that have experienced this know that. And I felt like I got a gift and that my job was to give her that gift. And we probably stood there for 7 or 8 minutes just being. And it was exactly what she needed. And it was what I needed too. I needed to honor the people affected by Tyree Nichols, which is all of us,
Yeah.
on that day and spread some love. and I'll stop talking. So
I'm just curious because it seems that, that gratitude is the start. It's not trying to be funny. It's not trying to force anything on someone. It's just giving thanks for something that people normally don't get gratitude. Right? We're standing online. There's one person that acts like a jerk. We're miserable about that one person who acts like a jerk, but we forget that there are 99 other people online who are there. We should be thanking them as much as, or maybe more than we criticize the other person. So that starts the ball rolling. Okay, and then so that's when maybe that's the fuse that lights the joy.
I think
nobody's
so.
thanked for that.
Yeah. Olivia and Cathy, do you want to talk about that? Olivia, go ahead.
Well, I want to say I have my unicorn horns on now. I've got one unicorn headband in honor of Katy.
Oh,
yay! From a little street girl that was selling them in Mexico. And she was so joyful, to see. I walked around Mexico with my glasses, of course. And so, she was really attracted to me and then showed me these fun headbands. I've always wanted one, so I have one now. And the joy in her face to play with me, right? She was selling, and I got a chance to play with her. I took pictures with her too, and it was just like a beautiful moment. But Jim Bob, to your point, it does start with gratitude, just gratitude. And being here in Mexico, this is my first time here, and it was such a humbling experience. So humbled, to be surrounded by people that, that don't have as much as what I have. And yet they would still be able to maintain that sense of contentment and serenity about them. And it was so unlike anything I heard about in the news about Mexico, right? I was a little bit intimidated and hesitant coming here, but I've never felt more welcomed and just more appreciative of all the love and support that people show one another. So it's a very humbling experience. I think that's another part of this joy formula, right? To be humbled by one another and by one another's stories too. Don't dismiss people right away.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cathy?
I was thinking about the concept of speaking to strangers, just walking up and speaking to strangers. And usually those sorts of encounters are because there's a problem. Can I get in front of you with the line? Or, somebody complaining about something. So going about and just offering a compliment. I mean, I went to Target the other day and I was looking for something in the health and beauty aid section, and the gal helped me and she talked to me. I turned to her and said, "Thank you so much for coming to work today." And she was startled. She was maybe in her early 20s. And she said, "No one's ever said that to me." And I said, "Well, if you weren't here, I wouldn't have been able to find this so easily. And I wouldn't have made the decision that I ultimately made if it wasn't for you. So I just want to thank you for doing that." 2 or 3 aisles later, I decide to purchase a product that another customer was purchasing, and she was explaining why. Okay, well, I needed the last can, which was on the very top shelf in the very back. So there's a few of us on this screen who knows what that means. If you were by yourself, you either climb or you just walk away. And there was another person working in the same department, go figure, and she helped me. And I looked at her and I said, "Thank you so much." The same thing. And she was really puzzled. And I said, "But had you not been here, I couldn't have had that today." And these tiny little moments of appreciation, I think, are so valuable in the day. And creating this to be normal behavior is what I think, Katy, you're on the cusp of. And you're on the cusp of inviting others to try this out and to get into the habit of it. So I want to thank you for that, because I do it. I did it in smaller ways. Now I'm a little bit more comfortable being more bold about the things that I say and the things that I notice.
And I'm going to thank you, Cathy and Olivia. I'm going to let Jim Bob ask questions in just a second. I'm going to get into the props. So the first thing is gratitude. I come up with an idea that none of us are thanked for being on Earth today. And so that's usually where I start. And then if they're a Vietnam vet, I say, "Here's the welcome home you never got." If they're a grocery worker, You know, you were on the front lines. Let me acknowledge that. Let me say thank you for everything you did during COVID. And I know people were mean and judgmental and in some ways grotesque because they were so stressed out and spitting. I mean, I'm talking about the really intense kind of spitting things that happened at stores, and all of that was so scary. And they're still there working because we all have to work. And the props are another way to say thank you. I have trophies, noisemakers, medals, kazoos, noses. I've given away dog ears. Like, if I have it in my hands, it's going to go to the person in front of me. And part of that is you get an award for being alive today. Jim Bob, do you have any questions?
I'm just really enjoying listening to all of this. Let's explore the ripple effect. Okay, you start with a gratitude. Now somebody's been thanked for something they've never been thanked for before, and now it reframes their view because they probably have in their mind, here's another customer. Oh no, here comes Karen with a complaint, etc. But no, instead of that, they're getting a thank you. They're getting an award, and now they're reframed. So where does it ripple out from there?
Oh, I think Cathy can tell that story.
You see my mouth going. So I saw it several times. The one that first came to my mind when this topic was brought up just now was when we went to the police department, Katie and I. It just happened to be, not because we planned it that way, but it was appreciate the police officer, the folks in Blue Day. So we go there, and there's this gal who'd been standing at the records window. She wanted her records of something, but she was standing there waiting, and the chief came out with I don't know, a half a dozen, 7 or 8 other members of the police department. And Katie and I mostly Katie did her thing and I was videotaping. But there was this lady. We invited her in, but she wasn't at first. But by the end of it, she was filled with joy. She had so many wonderful things to say to us afterwards. So it affected her day in a positive way, not just for what was provided to the police officers, but for what she experienced as a ripple. I'm going to turn my volume off for just a minute.
Olivia, can you tell us one of the ripple experience things that you saw?
Yes. One particular interaction that stands up for me is that we were on the Jacksonville Pier, and there was a father and a son fishing. So you, Katie, were talking to the father, and I was having a lovely conversation with the son. And I can only imagine that after that conversation, that he would go home and proceed to tell his mom and his grandparents and his cousins about meeting these 2 wacky ladies. He approached them and surveyed them and talked to them. And I got his whole ambitious life story in a way, because he was a young gentleman, like probably like 11 years old, but was wanting to become a superstar soccer player. And because he wanted to, appreciate all that his family has done for him and to take care of his parents later on. And so he felt that, being a soccer player and making it really big would help that. And that dream may change, but, why not? Why not encourage that dream and imagination? And I saw his perseverance in wanting to train and be part of his traveling soccer club and team sports. And it was incredible. And it was a chance for him to just really express who he was and what he was all about. So I think that's a remarkable ripple effect, because he's going to go on and share that story, and who knows what else from that experience.
Yeah.
So hold on. So the Joy First Foundation literally exists to make waves.
Yes. Yep. Gentle ripples. Yes. Okay. And I like to call it a crack in the door. So over the last few years, we've been taught through one method or another to separate, to disconnect from each other, to not feel connected, and to have things that make us unable to talk to each other. And from my experience and my intuition, really is where all this comes from, is to say, hold on, we really, really need to connect right now. So how do we do that? First, with strangers in weird situations and make an impact that might happen to continue after we leave. And my favorite story is with Cathy when we went to the farmer's market, and there was probably a 90-year-old woman there, and she was talking about her daughter and granddaughter taking care of her. And I have these little 3D printed joy letters. We gave one to her, and she ended up, we gave a standing ovation to the daughter, the granddaughter, the two caretakers, and that woman in particular. And then we walked away. And when we came back around, she was at a different bench with her joy little figurine, and she was sharing that with a stranger next to her. That was after we left.
But wait, there's
Yeah.
part of the story, because as we approached her and saw that, the ripple effect came back to us, because the amount of joy we were both experiencing was effervescent. It was just sparkly.
Yes, and when I documented, this is with Olivia, we documented our journey through the Van Gogh exhibition, and I posted that on social media, and I tagged the Van Gogh exhibition, and they wrote back to us and said, "Thank you for coming to the exhibit, and we're so glad you enjoyed it so much." And again, now they're looking at what Joy First is. Now they're looking at, I mean, and that kind of social ripple effect as well. We don't even know the effect we're having. And Cathy, did you have more you wanted to say about that?
Well, you, in what you were saying earlier, made me realize that I created a ripple effect, and it's because of my experience with you. I belong to a women's group. And the whole concept is to make new friends and be with people. And we are project oriented. We have our monthly meetings, and we put on a party for the town in October. It's a big deal, and it could cause a lot of stress. But I joined this group, and the core of the about 20 or 25 women have known each other for several decades. And then there's the newbies. And so I'm supposed to, one of my new jobs is to interview people and get to know them and then report back to the club. So I decided to turn it around on them. And I realize now it was the ripple effect. So at our meeting last week, I printed up a list of questions. Jim Bob, you go online, you find door opening questions, and whatever they are, they could be, blah, blah, blah. I cut them up into little strips. And when it came time for me to make my report, I said, well, today, because we're all here, and we're all at tables, which isn't common, I'm going to sprinkle these on the table. And before we leave today, let's all report on what we've learned about one another, whether you've known someone for 30 years or 2 months. And do you know that at least half of them made the effort to come to me before I left to say, oh my gosh, this was the most fun. So thank you, Kate. That was the ripple effect. That just was outside of Joy First. But it's not just approaching people. It's how you frame everything you can do once you have this inside.
I love how you that the door opening questions. That's excellent.
Yeah, because we started with that, Olivia, when we were out and about. It was, how are you feeling today? Can we approach you for a second? And the Van Gogh is, are you enjoying this exhibit? And even in the candy store, right? She's showing me around the candy store, and we're giggling our faces off, I'll say. And a worker comes by and says, you guys are in the right place. And we give him a standing ovation just because he was drawn to the giggling and happened to be in his path on his way to where he was going, and it took a minute to say something. And if we just can all take a minute to just appreciate each other and take the weirdness that we're being given everywhere else away for a second and remember that we're all connected. You know, we are all connected on this planet and maybe beyond now. um,
I
sorry.
want to say,
Go ahead. Yeah.
Locally in Jacksonville, Florida, where I live, I, participate with a nonprofit here, and I have a standing appointment at our Jacksonville Botanical Gardens to, host laughter yoga for the community. And you've given me so many ideas about how I can increase that interaction, up level, my interaction, my time there at the park, to go around and interview people, not just have them come to me at my table, and to maybe pass up props and to do the surveys. And so you've given me a lot of ideas. And so I think that's part of the uniqueness of the Joy First Foundation is that it's a lasting impression, and then we can take it further in our own communities.
And please do. And if you find stuff and can tag, somehow create a partnership, because that's one of the things I'm hoping with is that as we go through and create joyful moments, that we're creating a partnership and we can tag each other in this to help keep it growing. And Cathy, I think I forgot to ask you about would you recommend Joy First Foundation on a scale from 1 to 10?
97.
Okay, perfect.
For everyone. We'll leave room for those who would just feel awkward altogether, and that's okay.
All right, as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, I'd like to leap to my favorite question, which Katie knew was coming. Okay, but what difference can Joy First make on Thursday? A typical day of the week.
Olivia, I'm going to let you start with that one.
Did you come down on a Thursday?
I think I did.
Well, it happens to be that Thursday is my favorite day of the week. It's like my one day that I am creative and fun. So it seems quite right that you came on that day, because that's when I host my laughter yoga and I do my live stream show, Get You Happy On. So Thursday's my favorite day anyway. But I think now it's become even more favorite because I have this memory of you coming in. And then Sundays is when I'm at the park, right? So it was a great way to lead into any activities I will do with the kids on Sundays.
And
But,
yeah, go ahead.
I would, to answer the question again, Jim Bob, it would be that I was already so excited to have a visitor, right? I was so excited to have someone from AATH, from my Humor Academy Level 1 cohort come and visit, because this is something I'd always envisioned when I joined the Humor Academy, right? I wanted this like sort of collaboration. I know that I've met you at the conference. We were all together in Orlando, and then we've done a lot of Zooms in between, but it was just so remarkable to have you like in person and like actually like collaborating with me, because so much of what I do is online. And so I think that's the difference there, that it's someone of, the same mission with AATH, with Humor Academy, to finally come and collaborate with me, even that short period of time. And we got so much out of it, both together and individually. So I welcome anyone to come visit me in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm an awesome tour guide.
Yes, she is. Oh my gosh. Yes, she is. Totally. And so on a random everyday day, how does Joy First inspire, help, do something?
I think it just lifted my spirits. I felt very jubilant, and I caught a cold, but even like despite the cold, I was still like really having lots of fun.
You were so incredibly motivated, so motivated, and so inspiring to me. So again, this is where this happens, is I might come in and inspire, but you're inspiring me too. And that's where having, me by myself, yes, but having a second, third person there, we can fire each other up. We can spread out. There's other things that can happen with multiple people together. And maybe if you're out of your comfort zone by yourself, having a second person is like your joy buddy that supports you to bring the joy, and that you can have a discussion about brainstorming. How do we do this better? What didn't go exactly as planned, but was a wonderful surprise, and to help take some notes about that as well. And so Cathy, you are next in the question about how does this help on Thursday?
Well, funny, it's Thursday because Thursday was the day we first went out together and hit that farm, which was a chance thing. Doesn't matter the rest of the story before that. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is how it's really inspired me just to feel more comfortable and competent in this mission. I think I had it in me, but was always a doubter of and one who would repress things. So because everyone around me would mock that sort of behavior. Now I don't care because when you are doing it with somebody else and you get back in the car, you go, oh my God, wasn't that great? Kind of experience is what it's about. I loved what Olivia said about having Katy come to stay with her. Now, it turns out that Jim Bob and I are in the same cohort together. We went through Humor Academy, but our cohort didn't have this thing happen.
Yeah.
And the first person that actually came to visit me was Joni from our co, and that was, it's different than meeting at the conference. There's something really special about the one-on-ones. So how we can encourage more people to do that, because we all came to this organization for similar but different reasons. And even though we all do different things, this sort of collaboration and this little bit of time that we can carve out together, I think is powerful. And I bet you Olivia's the other aspects of your work, Olivia, are probably emboldened by this experience that Kate has brought both of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. So now, I'm stepping into public speaking, and now I'm being more vocal about laughter and humor and joy. And so it's really made a difference because I can pull these stories and anecdotes, right, into what it is that I'm teaching. So it's been incredible. So I'll share with you, um, just having a joyful moment, right? With local, my Spanish is not the best, but we're able to make it work, and I'm able to. And it's just having that joyful moment together to appreciate one another's culture. Here I am, a visitor, and I get to fully immerse in all the food and music and language. And it's just incredible that people be open up to me so I can learn about their customs and practices, and I can teach them some things too. And yeah, it's a wonderful exchange.
One thing that strikes me is that I've been through a lot of training on how to get better customer service, but nobody's ever taught me how to be a better customer. And if you go into a store and you appreciate what the clerk is trying to do, whatnot, you always get better service. It's they say that it's easier to get flies with honey, okay, than vinegar. And I say, well, okay, fine, but it's even easier to get flies with poop. But who wants flies in the first place? But I digress. But seriously, it's something that we're not taught, is how to treat other people that right there. The clerk or the cashier or whatever, the salesman, they're an obstacle. They're between you and your goal. But they're really not. They're just fellow travelers, and they just got the same issues. And why not make their life better?
That's it. How to be a better customer. I love that, Jim Bob.
Yes. Yes.
Another application, if someone becomes a Joy Ambassador, do they qualify for diplomatic plates? Because I've got a lot of parking tickets that I'd like to get out of them.
Maybe down the road. We need to streamline the process, and in 3 years we can be part of the UN. So, help keep Joy First going, and the possibilities are endless. And yeah, so if a tree, I'm looking at a question. Let's see if we can answer this. If a tree falls in the forest, isn't that normal? Because shouldn't we be a lot more concerned if trees started floating away?
Exactly.
We can thank Jim Bob for that.
The thing about, again, using humor or gratitude or something is, shall I say, as we all learned at Humor Academy, is that part of humor is the incongruity. Something comes in and it disrupts people's way of thinking, so they'd be more open to different ideas. Okay, that's why. I'm thinking that Joy First is a perfect example of applying something therapeutic and humorous for the benefit, uh, you know, for the benefit of society.
I recently did a clown show for some Ukrainian refugees and Moldovan folks here in the US. Yesterday, I did an event with the Polish American Society and talked about the fact that I could easily end up in Warsaw with Ukrainian refugees. And I'd love to hear more from you, Olivia, about what you think a joy ambassador needs to know in order to succeed, and succeed is a big word, as a joy ambassador.
I just want to emphasize a point too about the application and the humor and all the intertwined, Jim Bob, because joy is also a practice, right? I mean, I feel like joy by itself as an adjective noun, but it can also be a verb. It's a practice. You have to practice being mindful and being joyful and being aware of each other's, etc. So, as a joyful ambassador, I think it just starts with the quality of being interested in others, having that genuine interest in caring for another person. As long as you start there, wanting to be interested in who they are, their dreams, their ambitions, and what ways we could support them. And then have them to see the abundance of life. I mean, there's so much that surrounds us. And we have so many resources, more resources than we can ever imagine.
I agree. Yeah, and I do want to address, if we lose you, Olivia, I want to say thank you right now for being here.
And Olivia, please take a video of the driver's reaction when you get in the car with the unicorn hat on. But
Right. We've lost her camera. She might have lost her Wi-Fi. We'll see. Oh, there she is.
okay.
Hi. Olivia, do you want to say something if in case we lose you?
Yes. I'm so excited to be part of the Joy First Foundation. Thank you, Katie, for this incredible journey. I think we're just like what Cathy was saying earlier, like you're just on the cusp of something big here. And I'm definitely looking forward to making it international, starting with Mexico, because I've got resources and everything here now. So I know exactly what we can do and collaborate.
And thank you for making time for us today, Olivia. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So I briefly want to approach what you were saying, Jim Bob, about therapeutic and applied and humorous. And the approach may not necessarily be humorous, but I will say the gifting of a trophy, the gifting of a standing ovation, of a kazoo, it becomes humorous. And there's always a giggle if there isn't a tear of complete surprise and gratitude and depth. Even with the tears that come that we've seen, there is joy. There is levity. There is humor. In fact, Cathy told us, and will tell us again if she wants, about the guy who lost everything in Fort Myers because of the hurricane, and how he had to lose everything in order to find a way to appreciate joy.
Actually, what he said was, had I not lost everything in Ian, he and his wife lost their home. She's an artist. She lost all her work. They both lost their jobs. I think they lost a car. So they lost everything. And he didn't really look approachable to me, but didn't stop Kate. And here we went and approached him. And in his very stoic, firm face, he began to speak. And the softness began to come out when he said, I could not have appreciated what you just gave me had I not lost everything. You know, the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor focuses on the word humor, but it's really the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Joy. And as a laughter yogi, I know that it's not humor first, it's laughter first, and then I can see the funny. So many people have lost their sense of joy. If you lose your sense of joy, you could truly lose your laugh and only have that quote unquote fake laugh. Well, that fake laugh is a pretty powerful thing. That fake smile is a very powerful thing. And if we could evoke both of those things, as Katy says, it's a crack in the door.
Yeah.
The egg is broken, and now the rest can come out and play. And so I think, Katy, you're onto something. I'm writing my notes here. We've got Joy First Ambassador name badges we're going to make, because that's a way to open. What is that? Opening it up and saying, how can I get what she has? We're all not going to be Elaine pretending she's having an orgasm at the deli in New York. But wouldn't it be great to make people want whatever she's having?
That's right.
Excellent point. Other thing is that, okay, it involves humor, it's therapeutic, it's applied, but it also involves association, building up a relationship with other people. So it's got all four letters of AATH represented. So, Katy, I'm going to have to ask you, so to those listening, how can they find out more about this?
Yeah, so joyfirst.org, joyfirst.org is the website. And many of these joyful moments have been created because of donors. They've supplied the props and the ability to go up to strangers. And so there are donation links on the website. And if you're interested in following the travels, they are on TikTok, Joy First Foundation. They are on Twitter, Make Joy First, Facebook, Joy First Foundation, Instagram, Joy First Foundation, and YouTube, Joy First Foundation. And I am constantly putting evidence up of what's been happening in these journeys and the moments, with interviews with people, and you get to see, sometimes it's a full clown show for a domestic violence shelter, sometimes it's just a moment of random spontaneity, and the beauty is that the donors help make spontaneous things happen, which in other ways might not have been able to happen. I'm of the motivation of, I'm probably going to be doing this forever anyway, but your support is definitely helping so that I have more kazoos and more noses and can go more places. And if I'm really incredibly gifted, there might be a book by then too. We'll see.
All right, Cathy, any closing thoughts?
I don't want this to close. I want this relationship to continue to grow. I want to help Kate continue to inspire people to get on this bandwagon, man. Come along. We have a lot to talk about when you come downstairs, because you're really inspiring me to say, hey, this is really, truly the beginning of something. And it's well worth it. We could do this with children. We could do this with any age group. You've made me a more compassionate laughter leader. So I go and hang out with people with memory care issues, and it's a tough place to be. I need to have compassion for the caregivers in those places. So sometimes I feel a little frustrated, and you're helping me acknowledge them more, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm going to acknowledge you, Cathy, for your house, because you've been a host for Joy First Foundation, as well as Olivia, and I'm super, super, super grateful to be able to spend this time with you, because it's inspiring and it helps feed the train, so to speak, for me to keep going, knowing that I have, everywhere I've stopped has become a place I can stop again when I'm in a location and I need to have a connection with somebody, or to have a host, which is sometimes, because I am in the trailer as well. But I'm just so grateful for these connections. And I have to say it's been really fun to drive away and have everyone that's been a host say, "Come back soon." And I will do your dishes and reorganize your house, and I will make myself, useful in the house. Being a host to Joy First doesn't necessarily mean that I'm just camping out on your front lawn or whatever. It means you also get what I can do for you at the same time. And Cathy.
She is a great guest, Jim Bob. So if you guys have room in your house, or in your yard, whichever comes first. There's a bit of a rig, but it's not a big one. And it's a great mission. And I really appreciate you taking your journey before you got here and turning it into this, because it could have gone another way. And I'm so happy for you that you have been able to say, no, I want to be a joyful person. And that's really, really valuable to put that first. It's so significant in a world where people discount that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to just share this because I got a text message I was staying at the Caladacy RV Park in Dunedin, Florida, near Palm Harbor. And I did an event for them with Joy First. And in turn, I've given the owner, noses and kazoos for his family. And he keeps texting me because he's going to be sending me a picture of the family with their noses and their kazoos. He said, "I'm home now, but I'm going to have to get someone else to take the picture of all three of us. It may have to wait till tomorrow." So there will be a picture of the family in their noses with their kazoos. And I mean, I can't ask for more.
If they can do a Zoom call, we can have them on.
Right. Yeah.
I'm shy to come to this point, though.
Yes.
This was a bit of work on Kate's part to inspire people to joy. This could be a wonderful way of helping to reduce that tension, because fear has us contracted. Laughter and breathing opens it up. But if we can get people to giggle and smile, they're going to get that dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. That's what's healing. We don't have to talk about it. We're just going to get them to do it. And therefore, they'll feel better and more open and receptive. So thank you, Katy.
Thank you so much, Cathy and Jim Bob. And if you like what you heard here and you feel like it, again, you can go to joyfirst.org and donate to the cause. You can host, you can become a joyful ambassador, you can participate in many ways. So you can get in touch with me through the website, or info@joyfirst.org will come straight to me, and we can discuss how you can participate. Thank you, guys.
Most welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Joy First Foundation podcast. My name is Kate McLynn, aka Katy BEE, and I am on the tour of joy. So excited to continue the tour, continue meeting with people, sharing with humorists from the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor, also with people from the Eastside Institute, the Global Play Brigade, and the Applied Improv Network. So excited to be associated with all of you. And by the way, I'm also with the World Happiness Academy, a Chief Wellbeing Officer currently. I'm so excited that you joined us. Thank you so much. Keep your eyes out for the next episode. There will be more and more joy. Have a great day. Have a joyful day. And don't forget to spread kindness everywhere you go.